So rapper 6 Seconds has responded to Scru Face Jean once again. Though, to be fair, it sounds like Scru Face Jean kept poking the bear, so here we are. But anyway, let's not get sidetracked. We're getting straight into it. And before we do, make sure you hit that like button and the subscribe button if you haven't already. One thing I do want to clarify before we dive in, I did go back and do my research on this. I looked into what a number of the anime rappers were saying about the situation, and from what I found, it does appear that 6 Seconds was playing both sides to some degree. Just wanted to put that on the table up front so we're all on the same page. All right, let's get into it.
You said on Twitter about not knowing that my grandma was dying. That's cap. Both of y'all knew. One of the screenshots with a white background shows what I said to Fudge after he came and did the bullshit he did. And I said I wanted to get back to fixing my mental health and mourning my grandmother because she was in the process of dying from cancer. And that nigga said whatever he said and said sorry about your grandmother. This was way before that final FaceTime that we had. You niggas knew. All this shit is whack. Let's stop acting like y'all niggas didn't do what y'all did and said what y'all said. Y'all niggas threatened me. I offered y'all the fade, y'all niggas declined it, and after the convo, that was it until this. Because letting y'all niggas get away with how y'all violated me and then didn't respect the friendship when I offered y'all the fade and squashing it, that shit constantly rubbed me the wrong way, and it bothered me for months, my nigga, because I let this nigga get away with some shit that niggas do not get away with me. Point blank, period. And y'all are gonna try to deny it and try to act like I didn't tell y'all to run the fade with me 4 times because y'all don't want to look pussy because y'all niggas got images to upkeep. Cool. There's no way for me to prove it because it was on FaceTime, so I'm gonna let it go. But y'all niggas know that I said that, and that's all that really matters to me.
And look, I do understand where 6 Seconds is coming from. Out of everything that came out during this whole situation, there were 2 things that really stood out to me. But the one that hits the hardest is the fact that this man was in the middle of grieving a family member. That alone should have been the only thing on his plate. For Scru Face to be demanding that he step out during that period, expecting him to come out publicly, defend him, and make posts on Twitter, that was out of pocket. Plain and simple. Scru Face was out of line for that one. And then on top of that, you tried to physically intimidate him. Showing up to his house and getting in his face like that, that's a completely different level of wrong. That's not how you treat someone you claim to be close to. If the friendship was as solid as Scru Face kept saying it was, none of that should have ever happened. Lines were crossed, and there's no debating that. And let's not forget, 6 Seconds had already been putting his other friendships on the line for this man. I went back and did more research, and a lot of the anime rappers were openly talking about how he had been riding for Scru Face for a long time, defending him while quietly distancing himself from everyone else in the process. So at what point was that enough? How much more loyalty does Scru Face needed from him? And even if we set all of that aside, even if 6 Seconds wasn't holding up his end the way Scru Face expected, I get the frustration. That feeling of carrying a friendship alone is real. I've been there. But at some point, the right move is to simply step back. Just create distance. Say to yourself, he's not matching my energy, I'm not matching his, and maybe we're just not built to be in each other's corner right now. Even if there was a misunderstanding, even if things could have potentially been worked out down the line, giving him space and time would have been the most respectful choice in that moment. That's genuinely what was needed here. Not the pressure, not the intimidation, not the public demands, just space. That's it.
Situation is rooted in you should have just left niggas alone. That's the reason why niggas think that you're a bozo right now, my nigga. Unfortunately, you did some bozo shit after I told you not to do it. And I know throughout this video that you posted, you're going to be leaning on this family thing and me not telling them to chill because they were talking about your family. If you feel that's wrong on my part, because I held your son like I said I did, and I've been around your wife and you introduced me to your family and shit like that, I fully understand. Cool. You have my apology for that, genuinely. As a nigga that was friends with you, cool. I understand. However, none of this would be happening if, again, you would have shut the fuck up and left the cipher alone or actually reacted to the shit normally, which wouldn't have made sense because you do not Pokemon. Twitch. Also, you reignited beef with niggas who already don't like you that you are constantly poking at. You've had a track record of poking at all the time. So now that you poked the bear once again, there's rules. Let me check to make sure I'm recording so I don't got to do this shit again. Yeah, I'm recording. All right, boom. So now there's rules, nigga. And I gotta be the person to tell people what they can and can't say when you started the situation and it's not even my problem. Cool, I understand though, because talking about a person's family is crossing a line, and I have been around your family and we were close like that. Cool. First of all, I didn't even hear the songs because I'm not even bothering to indulge in the shit like that because my grandmother was dying. So any information about somebody speaking on your family is coming directly from you to me. Am I denying that it happened? Absolutely not, because you clearly feel a way for a reason, and I'll never discredit your feelings. You feel adamantly about this, so obviously something happened. I'll never deny you that. That's not something that niggas just make up. But I shouldn't be the one laying down the law in your beef that you started, that I told you not to start.
And that's another thing that didn't sit right with me when it comes to Scru Face Jean. You know what? I'm just gonna call him Jean from here on out. I'm tired of saying the full name every single time. Anyway, Jean, here's the other issue I had with how he handled this whole situation. If you're going to go after somebody, you don't get to dictate how they come back at you. Once you throw the first shot, however they choose to respond is entirely up to them. And when you're the bigger name in the situation, going after someone smaller is already going to look like you're punching down. That's just how it reads to the outside world. The way he reacted to the Pokemon cipher was a mistake. He would have been far better off not responding at all. Because here's the thing, we've seen the text messages now, and those messages confirmed what a lot of people already suspected. Jean was being messy behind the scenes, so you can't turn around and act offended when people fire back at you, especially when we can see exactly how you were moving when the cameras were off. Sending people to someone's house, coordinating tweets, pulling strings from the background, and then playing the victim when things escalate, that doesn't add up. You don't get to operate like that and then act surprised by the reaction. Now, something else caught my attention while I was going through all of this. I've been listening to a lot of the anime rappers. I'll be honest, I don't know all their names yet, but I've genuinely been getting into their music since this whole situation popped off. I've been watching their streams, their videos, and hearing their takes, and one thing kept coming up repeatedly. They were saying they had no idea Jean was putting 6 seconds through all of that, and their response was real. If they had known, if he wasn't in a safe situation,